What is up, guys? James here from the Light of Riga YouTube channel, and in this video we're going to be doing a tarot reading for Kim Jong Un. Now, it's a crazy world out there. There's a lot of deception, and the great thing about tarot is it helps you slice through that deception and see through to the truth of a matter. And you know, if you're going by the American media right now, it's a crazy time. They're calling this the North Korean crisis. They're trying to draw parallels between the Cold War and now. And they're basically saying that Kim Jong Un is a violent, irrational dictator who's capable of dropping nukes at the dime of the drop of a hat, you know, and is threatening to destroy the US. Now, my intuition says that's complete lie, that's propaganda. My intuition says that, you know, the United States is the only country to ever drop a nuclear bomb in the world, you know, on civilians. And North Korea wants to defend itself from that threat, from the threat of the US, and is simply trying to arm itself to the point where it feels like it's safe from this other superpowers. Now, I'm sure the truth is somewhere in the middle, okay? And that's why we got the tarot here today. I'm going to be using the Llewellyn Tarot. This is a beautiful watercolor deck based in Druidry, and it's going to I'm going to perform a Celtic cross spread for Kim Jong Un and see like what his true motivations, what his true feelings, his thoughts are in relation to the United States, and try to see if this is truly a violent dictator who's hell-bent on world domination, or if it's just a guy with a inferiority complex, or if it's just a regular leader who is just trying to do what's best for his country. I don't know. We'll see. I don't really know, to be honest with you. So if you would, give me a moment to center myself and ask the tarot cards the question: what are the energies of Kim Jong Un in relation to the United States? By the way, I've done a reading for Donald Trump, and I've done a reading for Vladimir Putin. So this is my third world leader reading, and the other two have gone pretty well. So I'm looking forward to this one. Actually, I'm just as clueless as you guys. Okay, so almost done here. All right, that ought to do it. Cut the deck, and we'll deal them out. The top one got cut off a little bit, but I'll show you pictures of these as we go so you can see a closer look at this beautiful deck. And let's see what we got here. I see one major arcana, right? Two. So, seems like this is just an ordinary day in the life of Kim Jong Un. This is business as usual. I don't see too many forces being exerted upon him, too many energies forcing him into things. I think a lot of what's happening here is through his choice, whether subconscious or not, we will find out. But I definitely feel like what he's doing is of his own accord. Okay, so let's look at these cards individually, see what they have to say. The first one we're going to look at is his significator here, and we've got the Knight of Pentacles, and that actually does make a little bit of sense here. I get the feeling that he's kind of playing a chess game. That's what I'm getting here. You know, the Knight of Pentacles is someone who's well-grounded, who's doing what's best for the people around him, but he's doing it in a way that's very slow, methodical, and tactical. And that's definitely fits in alignment with what I would perceive of a world leader, an intelligent world leader, someone who is practical and is going to do the right thing for his country, but is not going to rush into things, not going to be fly off the handle. It's not going to be irrational. So definitely a pragmatic approach is kind of what I'm getting from this card. But what crosses him is the Two of Pentacles. So we got more Pentacles here, and I think this card is about handling the day-to-day operations. This is about juggling the physical things in this world, on a daily basis, the kind of the small things. So I do feel like this is a chess match for him, but he's kind of being challenged by the things that he has to do on a daily basis, as in regards to the U.S. Remember, this spread is about how he feels about the U.S. and his thoughts, feelings, energies. And so I think he sees it as a little bit of a... what's the word I'm looking for? Inconvenience, maybe? That's not exactly the right word I'm looking for, but I think he sees this as... He's very grounded, is the feeling I'm getting from these cards. And so he's not... he doesn't have any fanciful ideas. He's not injecting his emotions. I get the feeling he's just taking the right pragmatic approach, just like a chess match, like you would with a chess match. Although in chess you do use your intuition, but I'm not seeing too much intuition here. I'm just seeing he's doing what he thinks is the best way to handle things. Okay, I know that's kind of vague, but we'll get more into this. Next, we'll look at the recent past. And I take that back. I do see a lot of emotions here. Ooh, a lot of emotions. Now that I look at these cards better. The recent past, we see Knight of Cups. I do feel like in the recent past, maybe in the past few months, he's been acting on his emotions. Probably not the best thing for a leader. The U.S. seems like there's a lot of provocation. I don't know if he tunes into U.S. media, but in the last few months, there's been some provocation on the side of the U.S. A lot of propaganda being given to its people by the American media, and this could be a cause for him to get emotional. Maybe the American media is saying things that aren't true, or they're painting him in a light that he doesn't feel like is true. So I do feel like there's a lot of emotion here, and that he's been acting on the emotion, kind of like acting out, lashing out based on the things that have been said about him. So not the best thing. You want your leader to have emotions, but kind of be in control of them. I do get the feeling that there's been some action based on emotion, so that's not good. But now, currently, we're moving to a time when he has to be more pragmatic. So it's not all bad. I think maybe he's calmed down a little bit from that. But moving into the future, we've got the Ten of Cups. And there's no card more positive than this card in the tarot deck. And I do feel like this is kind of showing that his kind of mood and emotions are going to change concerning the U.S. Not to say that, he's going to be in love with the U.S. I'm not saying that. But I do feel like there's going to be some positive energy coming in. So I kind of am seeing this whole crisis. I'm using air crisis. Okay. I'm seeing this whole crisis as... just being blown out of proportion is kind of the gist I'm getting from this. As when this Ten of Cups here is so telling. It shows happiness, it shows love, and I'm not saying that he's going to show these things for the U.S., but there might be a more focus on some positive emotions from him. So already I'm getting the sense that a lot of the things that the media is saying about him aren't true. But in the near future, at least, I do see some positivity. I don't see a nuclear holocaust, okay? As far as, his side of things. I don't know what the U.S. is planning, but it's been in our history to basically violently remove dictators. Only this one seems to bite back a little more than the others, which is why it's being dubbed a crisis. Okay, let's look to his subconscious. And his subconscious here, we have the Six of Cups. Okay, subconsciously, I do feel like there's a lot of energy from the past that is kind of influencing him in some way. This could have to do with his father and the way the U.S. kind of treated his father, possibly. It could be, more recent than that, and the way that the U.S. has treated him since he's become the supreme leader, since he's gained power. Or this could even be childhood stuff, like the way he was raised by his father to think a certain way and feel a certain way about the U.S., and that is subconsciously affecting his thought process, his emotions, but especially his subconscious. So subconsciously, I do see that he's kind of living in the past a little, and that's not a good thing. We don't want to live in the past. We want to live in the present. So I do think he's got some stuff to work out there, and I don't know how negative it is necessarily. I could do a different reading for that, but I'm not going to do that in this video. But I do see some negative, possibly negative emotions from the past affecting his decisions. Let's look towards the conscious mind, what he's thinking consciously about the U.S. We've got the Queen of Cups, more emotion. But this is more of a mature emotion. Not the most mature emotion, but I do feel like consciously what he's trying to do is the best thing for his country. He's trying to, he loves his country, and I think he loves his people. And I think he wants to do right by them. They are starving, so maybe this is, as far as politically, maybe not socially. Okay, I don't know about that, but at least politically for his country, I do feel like there's a lot of emotion there. And again, this is not necessarily what you want from a leader, a ton of emotion, but I am getting the feeling of a more mature emotion here. So I do think consciously he's acting on his emotions, but he's really keeping in mind the highest good for his country. So while it may seem like he's provoking the United States, I don't think he's trying to provoke them to the point of nuclear war. So far, I don't really see him as wanting a war of any kind. That I don't know. We'll see down the line, but this is just a snapshot of right now. So right now, he's feeling very emotional, I feel like. Alright, this card here is the personal power card. I like to think of this card as the best thing that this person can do to improve their situation at this time. And we've got the Ace of Cups, more emotions. But with this card, I'm feeling as though the best thing he can do is, yes, be emotional, but this card is suggesting that he finds a new emotion. That he kind of, there's a lot of negative emotions possibly going on with him. This card is suggesting he needs to adopt a new emotion when it comes to the United States and maybe see things differently. Maybe forgive a little bit, maybe understand a little bit more. These are two emotions, I guess, that could help him a lot. And I think he needs to wash away some of those old emotions, those implanted by his family or the past or whatever, duties that he has that is causing him to think a certain way. Definitely what he needs to do is bring in some more positive emotions, and I think that's going to help him gain more clarity and perspective and help him to lead his country in the right direction. This card here represents the energies of the people around him, the energies of the people around Kim Jong Un right now. We've got the World card, or I think this is called the Universe card in this deck, and give me a moment to go into this. Oh man, the people around him want this to be over, is the feeling I'm getting. They want this to be over, said and done with. While yes, maybe some of those people in his camp, those people in his life, his advisors, his generals or whatever, want this to be over as far as, attacking the U.S. or whatever, or getting this done, like, maybe militarized in a military way. I think the vast majority of the people in his life just want this feud to be over. They want to go back to living their life in North Korea without having to worry about the threat of nuclear war, without having to worry about the world's largest or strongest nation pointing nukes at them. So I do feel like maybe the people in his life are kind of fed up with the way things are going, and they just want this to end. So hopefully he can listen to these people and try to squash any beefs that are potentially lingering with the United States. So definitely, if I were him, I'd definitely listen to those people who are, maybe the problem is they can't speak up. I think that's probably the biggest problem. I don't know how much he listens to his advisors, or if at all, but that could be a problem. They're not really feeling comfortable. I know that there's been reports of him assassinating people that disagreed with him. I don't know how true that is, but definitely the people around him want this to be over with. This card here represents his hopes and his fears, and we've got Justice. Oh man, let me go into this card for a moment. I'm reading this as a fear a little bit. I think he fears reprisals. I think he fears that if he goes too far off the deep end, then the United States is gonna, there's gonna be some backlash. Okay, so I do feel like there is some fear within him of pushing the U.S. too far, or pushing any of the other superpowers too far. Because if the U.S. gets involved, then Great Britain gets involved, Australia gets involved, Germany, all the allies are going to come down hard on North Korea. So I don't think he wants to push too far, and I think he is a little bit fearful of that, of the evening of karma if he puts too much negative energy into this. But as far as a hope, perhaps he hopes that other countries will treat him fairly. He hasn't attacked anyone yet, but if you're reading the news, it would seem like this guy is hell-bent on nuclear winter. So, that might be a little bit unfair. He has shot missiles, but as far as I know, he hasn't really... most of them are tests, I believe. I don't watch the news, okay? I don't read the news. I don't watch the news. I look at the headlines from time to time just to see what kind of lies they're spitting out to us. So I do know that he shot some missiles off, but I don't think any of them were, I think they all went into the ocean, basically, is what I'm saying. So he's just testing from what I can gather. It may be a show of force, possibly. But, people who show force... are doing so they don't have to use force, right? A dog that barks and snaps at you is trying to scare you so that he doesn't actually have to fight. Those are the dogs who are the most fearful. And I think that this is the same as humans. The humans who are barking and trying to, foaming at the mouth and trying to bite you are the humans who really don't want to fight. And, I think he knows his position in this world. I think he knows that he's a very small nation. They're pretty poor. His people are starving. The last thing that he needs is a war. So I think there's a little bit of hope and a little bit of fear here, that hope that he can be treated fairly, and he hasn't done anything yet, and maybe people are painting him out to be worse than he is. And I think there's fear that if he does push things too far, that he's going to get a war that he can't handle, basically. All right, lastly, this last card here represents the long-term outcome. So the future in the next, past 3 months from now. And we've got the Page of Swords, and this card scares me a little bit. With our current leader, his finger's on the button, Donald Trump, and this card here is telling to me that there's going to be a lot of lies, there's going to be deceit, there's going to be slanderous words, there's going to be... This is the card of deception a little bit, but of words that are said from a place of treachery, a place of negativity. So, that's not the best card to come out. I know it kind of contradicts with this Ten of Cups here to have that card. But so I do see things kind of taking a turn. Maybe in the next month or two, things are going to start looking better with North Korea. But then in the future, in the next 3 months plus, I do see maybe some words being exchanged that aren't in the best interest of either country. And I don't like to see that card. I'm not saying that I'm not saying there's going to be nukes, okay? But I am saying that as far as Kim Jong Un, and his words directed towards the U.S. or even his thoughts. This could even represent his thoughts directed towards the U.S. That there's going to be some negativity in there. So I wouldn't put it past the guy, but I wouldn't expect it either. Nukes being launched or any kind of missiles being launched. So looking at this spread as a whole, a lot of emotion surrounding this guy. He seems like an emotional person based on this spread. And, right now it's spotlighted in this present moment. I think he's doing what's best for his country. He's trying to, play this like a chess game a little bit. But surrounded that, his subconscious, look at all these cups. His subconscious, his consciousness, his past, his future, all emotional. And I can't tell you what that means. Emotional people are kind of unpredictable sometimes, but this Ten of Cups does give me some hope that in the near future he's going to calm down a little bit. And that's exactly what he needs to do. He needs to adopt a new emotion, calm down, a higher emotion, understand things more from a better perspective, and adopt some more positive emotions. Hopefully he'll listen to the people around him who are fed up with all this saber rattling, right? Oh, no more saber rattling, please. There's no need for that. We want to live in a peaceful society, and it seems like the people in his camp want that too. He's fearing that he might bite off more than he can chew, but at the same time I get the feeling of a junkyard dog who really doesn't want to fight, and is just going to growl and hiss and foam so that he can avoid actually having to fight. But in the future, I don't know. Uncertain terms here in the future. Just that Page of Swords is kind of disheartening. It's concerning. Just that it kind of shows that he might not be able to elevate himself above this negative energy that's kind of bringing him down. Okay, so that is my reading for Kim Jong Un. I hope you guys enjoyed that. I hope it was illuminating. It opened some eyes, maybe. I just want to leave you with this message, guys. Don't trust any media. The media has an agenda, and that agenda is to sell you fear porn. And the more fear porn that it sells to you, the more you get addicted to it, the more you have to have it, and the more it will give to you. It's an endless loop. The more advertising revenue they get. So let's not buy into that. Let's think with our brains, think with our hearts, and see the situation for what it is. Thank you, Tarot, for illuminating this for me. I do see things a little bit clearer now. I think this spread has showed me that he's more of an emotional person and less of a monster. And that really humanizes him, I think, this tarot reading. So I hope you guys got something out of that. Leave a like if you did. It lets me know that you enjoyed it and got something out of it, of course. Put any comments if you want to, start a discussion about North Korea or anything you want to say about Kim Jong Un or this reading. I'd love to hear what you guys have to say. And let's just keep it civil, please. And if you really enjoyed this video, please consider subscribing. I do videos like this all the time. Go check out the Donald Trump video. Go check out the Vladimir Putin video. And I hope you guys will check out other videos on my channel. So hit that subscribe button if you want to see more. All right, guys? Hope you enjoyed. Leave a like if you did. Happy taroting. Peace.